O God, our help in ages. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come.
Since I'm in a reminiscent mood at the moment, I'd like to share some memories and observations with you. Down along the brick-colored Cimarron River where I was born in Indian Territory, the earth is red, but the cotton grows profusely. When my two grandfathers took claims there on opposite sides of this muddy stream in the early 90s, law enforcement was spotty. Indians often came knocking at our door for bread. I can remember how it always frightened Mother. Well, down the little dusty street was the calaboose, where drunks were placed overnight when they'd been found out of hand. It was primitive country. No bridges spanned the river. And because he had no boat, during their courting days, my father had to swim across to date my mother. He said you really had to be in love in those days. Well, a quarter of a mile away, my grandfather Elmore raised cotton and reared children. Irish as Irish can be, he loved and scolded with just about the same ardor. And he had a voice, they told me, that could hold down the bass section for a whole camp meeting. Humor and laughter come easy to the Irish. Grandfather was always bringing home some unlikely tale to make the dinner hour a happier occasion. Well, transportation in those days was by horse and buggy for the most part, and no day was more of a success than that in which Grandpa would say, "Get in, son. We're going to Engels." It wasn't a long trip, but the exciting part came in fording the river. Strange tales had been told of its quicksands, treacherous, shifting, and of how loaded wagons had been known to sink out of sight in their smothering depths. But I was with Grandpa. Nothing could ever happen to a little boy when Grandpa was along. Well, on this particular day, the river was swollen a bit from rains upstream, and as we entered its whirling waters at the ford, my boyish heart became uneasy. I watched the buggy wheels go deeper and deeper into the chocolate stream, and unconsciously I crowded closer to Grandpa. And then the water was over the floor. And as Grandpa lifted his feet to the dashboard, I climbed up on the seat. At the same time, his strong arm came around me, holding me steady and close. What a feeling of security and safety. I'll never forget it as long as I live. And so we made it across. Well, all that was more than 60 years ago. But since that day, how often I've felt the Heavenly Father's arms around me, holding me close. That same feeling of utter safety and well-being has come to possess my soul. And again I've recalled this promise from the Word. The eternal God is thy refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms.
O God,